So the unanimously agreed on at this point national supervillain of Sea Entertainment has once again found herself in the center of controversy after literally suffering from the consequences of her own actions. Because of all the people with free will on this planet, the pop diva herself is arguably one of the most questionable users I've seen so far. On the 28th of March, Shan Yi Chun recently decided to hold her nationwide tour in Shenzhen. The concert, it's titled Lil Sis Chun 2.0. Absolute ball of a concert for Shan Yi Chun, I am sure. By the way, I just realized they got a tree in the stadium. Until, at around 8th song into the set list, Shan Yi Chun then performs a song called Li Bai. Rookie mistake. As little did she know, that's possibly the worst decision she could have ever made in her 6-year pop star career. Because just one day after the concert, another major artist, Li Ronghao, bypassing his agency, logged onto his personal computer on the 29th of March calling out Ms. Shan Yi Chun for her copyright infringement behavior on loudspeaker in front of the entire Chinese internet. So, in this post, he recounts that the reason of his crash out is that recently, Shan Yi Chun's team contacted the China Copyright Association and our copyright company regarding her March 28th to 29th Shenzhen concert, seeking authorization from him to perform a cover of Li Bai at the concert. Which he then clearly states, right, we have politely declined this copyright offer via email. Hey, the hell are you talking about? I thought Li Bai was a pop diva song, or else why would she sing it at a venue for commercial purposes? Especially if it is somebody else's song. Well, why don't you strap in? Because I'm about to take you on the ride of your lifetime. It's the year 2020, where 19-year-old Shan Yi Chun has just become the newest champion in the Voice of China. So, like any mentally sane individual, she drops out of the art college she was enrolled in to pursue a career as a vocalist. And ever since then, she's been on a generational run. At around a year into her career, realizing that being soft and innocent no longer wins the heart of the people, she then goes through a rebrand. Hugely successful. During the tough times, the people always yearn for a nonchalant diva who can handle business. So officially stepping into her unapologetic era, she begins to gravitate more and more towards the mainstream audience. Shan Yi Chun herself then came to the realization that after all the rebranding she's done, all she gotta do now is to make a generational hit song that everybody and their kids are singing. Because at the end of the day, you can't just be the pop diva. You gotta earn the pop diva. Every Da Vinci needs to paint their Mona Lisa, or else what makes you an artist? So one fateful day back in June 2025, Shan Yi Chun woke up and decided to cover a majorly popular hit song by another artist, Li Ronghao. And the song she ended up choosing was Li Bai. The song she's getting yelled at right now by Li Ronghao for copyright infringement. Because for context sake, Li Bai was more or less known to be Li Ronghao's signature hit that has now died down in popularity over the years. But while it was big, it was pretty big. So the play she was essentially going for when she decided to cover it is to leverage on the reach of the title to gain nationwide traction. The whole situation is of course even more interesting considering Li Ronghao himself once claimed that he doesn't even like the song, matter of fact, going as far as calling it tacky. If you didn't know the context, listening to him talk about the song, you'd think he's describing, I don't know, one of those how one of those air raid sirens sound or something. But anyways, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Shan Yi Chun's team, on the other hand, saw that as a great opportunity to come in and revolutionize her image, so she goes ahead and does the cover of the song. She then adds a few catchy euphemisms to it and sang it on this nationwide singer program in 2025, and now it's the national anthem. I'm not exaggerating, they passed it the other day. So she becomes inseparable to that song. Because imagine you go to a Shan Yi Chun concert and not sing Li Bai on the set list. That's like going to Disneyland and not seeing Mickey Mouse. Because it's like, I know it's probably going to be fun still, but you are denying me the full experience. To add fuel to the fire, the most viral lyric in the song, which is the bridge, went on to then accidentally become the most infamous Gen Z brainrot expression as of today. The expression is 如何呢又能怎? And that phrase directly translates to what about it? What you gonna do? Plaguing over half of China's parents. Yeah, so she's responsible for our skibbity toilet situation, which I think, if you say it nonchalant enough, is an S tier power move. Because say you're in China and someone's like, excuse me, you can't park here. You roll down the window, you hit him with that 如何呢又能怎? That is literally the equivalent of you combining Cry about it, stay mad, cope, talk to the hand, in one sentence. Generational rage bait. But just when you think the song isn't iconic enough, some adults were even recorded by actual news outlets to say that Shan Yi Chun's song perfectly captured their mental state. Great, so now the song has essentially reached the influence level just short of a religion. Now, this is a hysterical moment, because this man couldn't stand his song already as it is, but now that Shan Yi Chun has ran through the music sheets, not only does it sound significantly less pleasant, but it's also everywhere. So safe to say, Li Ronghao wasn't exactly pleased on what she did with his forsaken child. But then, moving forward from Shan Yi Chun's perspective, it'd be pretty dumb at this point to not capitalize on the whole nationwide fame the song has propelled her into, right? And unfortunately for Shan Yi Chun, this song, this meme, eventually and evidently did come full circle to land her in the biggest controversy she's ever seen so far in her career. Bet she wished someone could save her from her misery, like how Lingo Pi saved me from my misery in failing to learn a language. Because I've been trying to figure out Italian conversations for months, until I found Lingo Pi last time, and now I think I'm ready to say I'm able to chime in as long as it's related to food. But here's the thing, my vocabulary only started growing when I switched to learning through actual Italian TV shows with Lingo Pi. I can watch over 3,000 shows and movies, and when I don't understand something, I just click on the word for instant translation. Check this out. Sale, see, you can actually break it down at your own pace. That's what I love the most, because the smart subtitles let me control the speed when the dialogue gets too fast, and I can replay the scenes until I nail the pronunciation. Then, I'll test myself with flashcards made from those words I've clicked. It is like having an Italian tutor who never judges you for rewatching the same scenes 5 times in a row. The craziest part is that if you watch enough of these videos, it can ease you into real-life conversations, because that's what it's based on, right? The stuff that no textbooks could teach you, and it works for like 12 other languages too if you want to branch out. I've tested the Chinese one, I know it's legit. This is honestly how I wish I learned from the start. So if you're tired of apps that makes it feel like homework, then just try the Lingo Pi 7-day free trial. Use my link for over half price off your first year. Trust me, your future self is gonna thank you. Okay, so if we take a look at Li Ronghao's crash out now, right? Closer look. He even mentions that he first contacted the association just to make sure he wasn't tripping, because from his perspective, it's like, hey, I'm pretty sure I replied via email declining this copyright offer, right? And you still went ahead to blatantly ignore that and sing my song? Oh, that is some nerve. So then China Copyright Association wrote back to clarify to him that obviously they have not authorized their actions and that their behavior constituted forced infringement. So in other words, it is set in stone. This is not an allegation. It is a fact that she's infringed on his copyright. The only way she could have gotten away with this is if she sang the song in her sleep. But then, let's also take a look at that this part right here. Your cover of me on the Singer program is all over the internet, with jokes about me trending everywhere. Now this one is essentially referring back in 2025, where her cover of Li Bai first blew up. He managed to catch some strays too, right? That's what he means when he says joke about me. Matter of fact, actually, the revenge they're talking about in this meme right here is basically referring to that one time on The Voice of China where he passed on the opportunity to take her onto his team. Didn't turn his chair around. So the netizens are basically making fun of him, saying, hey, bet he regrets that moment now that she's gone ahead and floored him with her cover of Li Bai, in which he is not a fan of them saying. But he didn't clap back at the time, he didn't argue, he copped it all up. That's why he's saying over here, I guaranteed you smoothly ascend to the top without replying to a single word. So are you doing this out of revenge? If so, what's the motivation for the revenge? What is the motive? Because it cannot be something as dumb as not turning my chair around. One thing for sure is that if he didn't like the song then, I bet he hates the song now, because I am not kidding when I say this song went on to poison the minds of the children. So then after telling us about the infringement, Li Ronghao then addresses her directly by saying, I hope you won't say that you don't know it was all done by the company, right? Basically telling her don't shift the blame to your agency. This doesn't fit your attitude / so what you gonna do persona, he says the phrase. Don't shed tears during tonight's performance to gain sympathy either, because she's still in the middle of her tour. After all, think clearly. The moment you were allowed to infringe on someone's rights, you were confident. Mr. Li then ends his round. Pretty superb first open to the game. Li Ronghao came in swinging, So how did Shan Yi Chun respond? So just 2 hours later at 7:16 p.m, Shan Yi Chun drops a direct response to the incident, dropping the Diva act immediately whilst giving us a pretty sincere apology, seemingly, right? I was just rehearsing, and afterwards I was also looking into the situation. As a fellow creator, I understand how Mr. Lee is feeling right now. First of all, I am very sorry. I will work with my team to clarify the situation as soon as possible and give everybody an answer. Ooh, Shan Yi Chun then also gives us a paragraph to emphasize that she absolutely understands the importance of copyright awareness. And here you can read the rest. Finally, she still wants to thank Mr. Li Ronghao for creating the song Li Bai, which gave me strength and warmth. Thank you, Mr. Li, and I apologize again. Now, out of context, this is a great apology. She's dropped the unapologetic act. Matter of fact, she's even gone from one end of the extreme to the other. This is pretty apologetic, some may say, whilst also over here stating that she's looking into the situation. So it sounds like that she's also caught in the predicament, right? By mistake, perhaps. It seems like to me that she needs to brief herself with the team on the situation to clarify who in their right minds would commit such an incomprehensible act such as copyright infringement. So then why are these ghosts and goblins on the internet still attacking this innocent girl with SpongeBob memes in the comment section after she clearly told us that she is very sorry for her actions and has absolutely zero idea what is going on, but will try her best to figure it out? Well, it's because unfortunately for her, the people did want to initially take her side with the benefit of the doubt, right? Since it could have been a genuine mistake, so they took matters into their own hands to look into the situation. And then it must have been a pretty anxiety-ridden moment for her and her team when the people found out almost immediately via open source information that the creative director, which is the person who makes sure all her songs are compliant, is none other than Shan Yi Chun herself, resulting in comments like, "The executive producer doesn't know the song she sings has copyright issues." Okay, you guys continue. The emotional apology statement then obviously just reads worse and worse, right? As soon as people knew that in the back of their minds, because it's like, here she's like, "I deeply understand the importance of copyright awareness and will definitely make this red line clear." So it's like, you understood, but you still went on to infringe. Not exactly the best look. Then just 30 minutes later, Li Ronghao, capitalizing on the heat of the moment, drops a follow-up crash out with an attachment of an email sent by the Copyright Association. So I think the point of this one is to just let her know, matter of fact, no matter how much you shift the blame, you are cooked. And you can tell exactly how mad this guy is with, with this sentence where he just straight up says, "From what standpoint, what right, what perspective, and what mindset did you use to sing this? I like to see which top-notch team can get away with this blatant infringement and violation of copyright today." In which Shan Yi Chun, of course, had absolutely nothing to say against, apart from a very lengthy apology on the 13th of March that she dropped, where she literally expresses that she will personally bear the full copyright usage fee and corresponding compensation. The fault lies entirely with me and has nothing to do with anybody else, and at the same time, she also urges her fans to refrain from over-interpreting and spreading extreme opinions, allowing this incident to return to the core issue of copyright compliance. Now, she had to say that because her fans, right, taking heavy influence from her, are still keeping up that unapologetic what you gonna do bravado, despite the fact that the infringement is pretty much set in stone, therefore ruining her reputation even more on the Chinese internet. But you know what they say about crazy fans, they either make or break you. Although, just when you think it's over, what's actually really funny is that Li Ronghao is currently under fire as well for plagiarism. Oh my god, the netizens are certainly enjoying this let who have no sin cast the first stone looking situation, because the Shan Yi Chun fans, desperate to take a W, actually dug out some pretty interesting past records. As it turns out, the man himself has had this one case back in the early days where he even made it onto national television because of plagiarism allegations, where his hit song 两个人 was almost identical to John Mayer's St. Patrick's Day. Oh no. Although the reason why he is trending is because when he was facing those allegations, he did not show the same accountability Shan Yi Chun was showing, as he was recorded on live television when prompted by Taiwanese media on what he thinks about those plagiarism allegations. His response was, well, what can you do? The song has already been released. I didn't think it was that serious. Hey, now I don't want to be the what you gonna do police, but it seems like that was some real what you gonna do energy right there with those plagiarism allegations, but that wasn't even it. The clip Lee Rung-ha was really under fire for was when another hit song of his, Little Eyes, was discovered by netizens to sound awfully similar to a song called Signal, which was made by a Japanese artist. In which, upon being questioned once again for plagiarism allegations by the Taiwanese media at the time, his response was, well, I've heard that allegation before, but I didn't really look into it. I'm gonna check with my company to see what they think. So it seems like the situation is looking like that Shan Yi Chun learned from the OG. That's what they're saying. So all in all, Shan Yi Chun fans are having the easiest counterattack of their lifetime under the hashtag Lee Rung-ha plagiarism, absolutely roasting Lee Rung-ha for being a hypocrite while bro is fighting for his life on Weibo. So he did win, but at what cost?